Welcome, ladies and gents, to this explanation of attention to diversity, in which I will show you how the concepts normal and not normal are but an illusion. During humanity's history, we have developed an endless number of values and new techniques, as well as understanding new ideas, one of which is the diversity of the human being, though, however, centuries ago, such a thing was scientifically unknown and thus non-existent. On the other hand, these events would just be considered unholy acts, such happened with Spartans. Following on in history, we may also gaze upon the Middle Age, where these deficiencies were still considered as supernatural events seen as demon-inflicted, and many procedures took place such as witchcraft, exorcisms, and even bonfires. However, the Church's intervention against infanticide gave the chance to the creation of asylums and benefactor establishments, even though the Church couldn't really stand for them until the Inquisition took place, which just encouraged that rejection. After this, we would enter the more intellectual era, where these events were considered as more product of nature rather than demonic infliction. Then, some educational directed reforms took place, mostly in the case of blind and deaf students. However, other deficiencies such as mental issues were not given so much attention at the moment. Until meeting the French Revolution that distorted priorities and started giving attention to new demands. Even though there are still many prejudices of the no-normal as a threat to society, certain awareness will keep rising up as it develops, as well as solving these problems for the most part, such as is with the case of normalization, which brutally changes the perspective by which we see these people, making us realize just how capable they are of doing the things that we do, or even better, at least to the present day. Along our development as educators, many educational laws have left their footprints, some of which are the following. With the law of public education in the second part of the 19th century, also known as the Ley Moyano, some deficiencies are finally considered and put under the care of special centers. The law of public education created in mid-20th century, which established the creation of special schools in order to introduce students with certain deficiencies such as physical, psychological and social to the establishments made by the state. Then there is LOGSE, in which education is contemplated to a whole new level, where education is dedicated to everyone depending on their personal characteristics, including certain difficulties, proposing itself to properly respond to all necessities within the student's scope of schools. Thus, the Organic Law of Education, or correctly known as LOE, states in one of its sections that an appropriate educative response to all students is that of one attending to the inclusion principle, given that only in such a way may all students be equally developed, promoting equality and social understanding between the different participants of the educational institution. From a subjective point of view, there are a number of elements and changes from the current educational law that I consider to be especially important, from which I have made a list. First goes what I believe is a great advancement into education in general. Since as these laws are introduced, so are new ideas that completely change the perspective with which we create certain standards and stereotypical conceptions of diversity as a way of deficit that should be cast aside. And alternatively gives a new ideal that serves as an example in which all students may face special necessities during their career and understand the concept of students with certain necessities as those who have more complications than others to reach the necessary curriculum. Another important value vital to the concept of diversity, as well as independence and individuality, is that of one of the propositions from the LOMCE that states an opening of the possibilities by which each student may take one path or another, depending on their circumstances and characteristics, as a way of differentiating students through values that I consider key towards developing us further into independent beings, not homogeneous children with the same dual objectives and priorities as it used to be in the not-so-distant past. Then one last important detail goes for the mentioned process of inclusion of these special cases within the school organization, which classifies as vital for the proper understanding of these students, because it doesn't matter what systems you implement to ensure their safety and development, they will not improve properly if their environment that surrounds them is hostile, referring of course to their future classmates. That must be taught to accept different people and not reject that which is different to them. Only in this matter will these special cases truly develop comfortably. No promises of equality and understanding, but acting is what will actually make the difference. So, last section of the video. To begin with, and from my perspective, I would put myself a 7 in diversity, as I believe I have properly established and completed all my given assignments, as well as it being my overall mark in all subjects, which is no surprise. The most important idea I believe I've learned was that of a history of diversity, or at least of attention to diversity, as it is very interesting to see how it's developed during humanity's history. No, I was already very well aware due to self-reflection of all this kind of stuff, of understanding each person as an individual that is unique and has their own characteristics. And along with organizations video, I have learned very similar things, as I have developed myself in developing more original design ideas that don't require the constant use of technologies, but more traditional with homemade materials here in my home.